So guys, I finally beat Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. After 35 hours or so of playing the game, I've beaten it. My thoughts coming up right now. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a brand new video game review. Today I'm going to be going over Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, a game that I really was not that excited about due to a lot of the stuff EA has done in the past, which we're going to get into a little bit. Just so you guys know, these video game reviews are a little bit more laid back, kind of like my TV reviews, where I just like to discuss the game. And do not be worried, I'm not going to go into spoilers on the game because I know many of you haven't even picked up the game like me. I was one of the ones that wasn't going to pick up the game. Maybe you guys have, maybe you haven't. Let's talk about it down below in the comments what your guys' thoughts are on the game are. Very curious to hear you guys get your input on this one. And of course, if you guys are new here, again, hit that like and subscribe button because I do tons of early movie reviews on a daily basis, and I've been trying to do more laid back kind of stuff when it comes to video games and in general TV reviews. So that's what this video is going to be. It's kind of just me. I finally beat Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And like I mentioned, I wasn't that excited about this game overall. When it was announced, I was like, that's awesome. Respawn's doing it. They did Titanfall 1 and 2. Some of my favorite games, some of my favorite first-person shooters of the last decade, especially 2. 2 was awesome. I loved 2 to death. And especially when it came out of the story in there, it was very surprising. Fallen Order I wasn't excited about, though. And it was because of what EA has done with the Star Wars licensing property for the last couple of years. Actually, not even the last couple of years. The last, 6, 7, 8 years? They've had the property, and they've only done 3 games. Battlefront, Battlefront 2, and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. EA has disappointed me twice in the past. Star Wars Battlefront, when they announced it, my God, we all knew they were going to do it because they make Battlefield, and Battlefront is one of the most popular Star Wars games ever made. Very much nostalgia in that fact, but the best part about those games is being transported into a war location, being able to play as clones, droids, or even some of the heroes, and battle it out. And that's what it was. But there was nothing more to it. They didn't have any progression. And obviously that battle model does not work. So obviously the first Battlefront was fine. It was fun, but it was fun. There wasn't nothing more to it. No story, no impactfulness in that part. And keep in mind that word impactfulness. That's going to be coming up later in this review. Why that means so much. Then Battlefront 2 comes out. And again, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times,
I'm just a fucking idiot.
And understand this is not a video for kids. I just cussed, so this video is not for kids. Then you get Star Wars Battlefront 2, which I was more excited about. He said you're going to attack all 3 different origins of the saga. The prequels, the originals, and the new ones. I'm more excited on that part now. And again, the game comes out, and that was my fault. Bought the new PS4 Pro for it, got the game, and totally lost interest in it. The microtransactions were terrible. I didn't feel the story was impactful and meaningful to the Star Wars lore and anything within it. Yeah, it's cool to see where this character's coming from, but I still really didn't care. Like, for me, it didn't impact anything that the Star Wars story had ever told before. It didn't give me some new revelation. And I really wasn't necessarily looking forward to that, but there's nothing more to it in that part. And you know what, credit where credit is due, I will give credit to Star Wars Battlefront 2. If you play the game now, it's actually really fun. Like, I bought the game again a couple of weeks ago, and I've been actually playing a lot more of it than I ever thought I would be. It is fun. It's pretty much Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original one, just re-upped. And, you know, while there is still really no progression, like, there is a progression system. It is way better than what the game came out to be in there. I don't know if there are microtransactions. If there are, I haven't really paid attention to them, or they're not as prevalent in your face to a pay-to-win. I'm not going to say it's the best thing ever, but it's at least fun. But now with Jedi Fallen Order, I will say this is what EA should have been doing this whole entire time. I think this gaming decade have kind of forgotten that single-player games are big, especially when they're great. When they're great, you can win over a lot of people. Take, for instance, Uncharted, God of War, Spider-Man from Sony. All 3 of those games are from Sony. And Sony, I think, still believes in single-player games. And other companies, I feel like, are forgetting this. Now, with EA finally taking on saying, okay, we got to do a single-player game. We've canceled one. That didn't get a lot of help, which I don't know why they canceled. I think it's stupid. Whatever. They finally give us Jedi Fallen Order. Now, I also think it's dumb that they have not given BioWare a Star Wars game. Like, you'd think that would be your main thing to go to because they made Knights of the Old Republic, another fantastic game. But I didn't feel an impact on that one either. Even though I've played it multiple times, that's another game that, while it's so fun and it feels like you're in the Star Wars world, it didn't impact for me how I wanted it to. Jedi Fallen Order has finally been the first Star Wars game that I've ever played to impact me. The only one that's ever gotten close is Star Wars Republic Commando. I don't know what it is. A lot of it might be nostalgia, but I love this game. But I haven't been impacted on a Star Wars game in a while. Even Force Unleashed was fun, but it didn't impact me like I wanted it to. Fallen Order does that. And I've been saying it. This is what EA should have been making from the very start. You can still do the online games, but this is another Star Wars game that you should have been making this whole entire time. Fallen Order is and might be the best Star Wars game ever made. There are some issues with it that I do have, but when it comes to a story standpoint, it is one of the best Star Wars stories ever told. It is impactful, it is meaningful to the Star Wars saga and the whole Star Wars lore, and it takes place at a perfect time. The time place it's taking is set shortly after Revenge of the Sith. The player takes on the role of a Jedi Padawan being hunted down by the Empire after Order 66. This is such an intriguing part of the line that we've never gotten to see in any movies or television yet. Yes, I do understand that Solo did take place after Episode 3. I do understand that the Obi-Wan series will be taking place after Episode 3 as well, before Episode 4. But still, Solo didn't dive into this. Maybe the Obi-Wan series will dive into it in a little bit. But still, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is that important series that has finally hit that impactful and meaningful part of the world that we have not seen before. And it's not just because of the story that they decided to take in on with that part, but it's also the characters at hand in here. Cal Kestis, who is played by Cameron Monaghan, who I've been a major fan of from Shameless, from Gotham, and any small things he's ever popped up in. I think people forget how much voice acting really does for a character when it comes into a video game. And Cameron does such a great job embodying this character of Cal to the point where I really cared about Cal by the end. And I understood every single decision and choice he was making throughout it. You really come to care to understand him very much in the beginning, and they do a very intriguing part with the flashbacks in here, going back to where he's being trained. He's cut himself off from the Force, but he's having to kind of regain that connection. And as you're regaining that connection, it's through flashbacks that tie into the previous of what's going on in the future and where you're playing in the present. Very clever in that whole part. But besides Cal, it has to be the other characters. His side characters in here, especially one played by Deborah Wilson, Siri Junda, who is a Jedi, who used to be a Jedi Knight who has really done the same thing. Cut her off from the Force. She's had a bad history. And when you start to understand where her character is from, that's some of the most intriguing parts and somewhere that Star Wars has never taken characters before. And that's why I'm so intrigued with her and the story at hand. Because this is a Star Wars story that, again, tackles characters that, while we've seen somewhat before, but when we get to the background history of this time period and what they were going through, it's some of the most fascinating things. And one of the things that Jedi Fallen Order actually makes me like a lot are the Inquisitors. I've always loved the Inquisitors, thought they were badass and all that part, but never understood the emotionality to them. Where are they from? Where did they come from? There's one Inquisitor in here that you learn a lot about that I fell in love with. I would have actually liked to know more about her, in fact. Not a con by any means, because it's not her story. But from what you do learn about her, there's a lot to it. And it really kept me intrigued the whole entire time. A lot of these things just tie in perfectly to the Star Wars world to the point where if you're not in the video games, it kind of sucks because this is a nice little segment of the Star Wars world that, again, we have not touched on before. Any video game, the story can be great, but it also comes down to the gameplay. Not talking about Death Stranding, which I still have not beaten. Maybe you'll get a video like this segment one day of me talking about it, but something with the gameplay in here that's so great is this is the fine balance between being an ultimate badass like Force Unleashed and a monster that you can just not stop, and an actual feeling like an actual Jedi that can be defeated. It's intriguing how Respawn went about with developing the gameplay for this game. And like I said, I've already mentioned, I love Titanfall 1 and 2. But they do something so cool with Star Wars Jedi. I was very impressed by. And it's two things. So this game is obviously very much influenced by the gameplay of Uncharted and Dark Souls. A lot of the things is Dark Souls. It's hard. It is a hard game. I will recommend. If you're one of those people who are not for the fan of hard games, just play it on story mode. You'll be able to get through it and survive. I played on each and every difficulty, and definitely story mode. It is very easy. Like, I mean, very, 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 very easy. But when you play it on the other modes, it is a little bit harder to go through, and I like that satisfaction of, like, when you finally defeat a boss. Like, for anyone who's played the game, you know the giant frog boss you can find on the first planet. That's very frustrating, and you probably shouldn't kill, like, in that first encounter. You could probably wait, but me being frustrated, I died like 30 times trying to kill it on, like, the hard difficulty, and it was just super annoying. But there's things like that, and exploration is the game. That's where the Uncharted part comes in. The more you explore, the more stuff you can find, which all goes back to the customization of your character. There's a lot of customization with your character. The lightsaber you can change out. It's not just cosmetics. There are some really cool things that you can do with the lightsaber that I'm not going to get into spoilers on, but man, they're freaking cool. But there's also things of learning and getting skill trees and points and all this to upgrade your character and, again, add new skills to his skill set, which, again, ties into everything else. When you start out as this character, he is weak, and he is hard to play as, and it's not a detriment to the gameplay. That's how it's supposed to be. But as you progress through the story, as you progress with this character, you truly feel like you are becoming this ultimate Jedi Knight. And the satisfaction of getting that next skill tree, or getting that next skill point, to that next ability, to upgrading your lightsaber, it all adds to the depth of this game and how powerful it truly makes you as a Jedi. And in a sense, it gives you that satisfaction. Because while Dark Souls and Uncharted have these, there's two things that this game differentiates very much so. That is the lightsaber and the use of the Force. It's some of my favorite capabilities that they've ever put inside a video game before, and I'm fascinatingly in love with it. It really makes you feel powerful, but at the same time, defenseless. At times, it makes you feel that same way. And the Force, you can have some little nitpicks here and there. When you upgrade that thing, it is so fun to pick someone up and throw them against someone else and then Force push this person off the cliff. It is insanely great feeling when you get to do all that. I actually didn't even mention yet when I went to the characters was we all love our droids. And again, Respawn did such a great job with Titanfall 2 of making you care about your Titan. They do such a great job in here with BD1, which everyone's talking about Baby Yoda. Let's protect Baby Yoda. No, I'm going to protect BD1 with my life. These are two of the cutest life forms ever. And for once in my life, I actually feel like I can talk about Star Wars without someone jumping down my throat saying, Star Wars is horrible! No. I will take the good and the bad with Star Wars because I love this world. And thankfully, Jedi Fallen Order is great Star Wars. And I know I addressed this earlier on that I did say I did have some qualms with Fallen Order. One of the biggest things is, and now they have patched this, like, I didn't encounter any game-breaking glitches that made me have to restart, but there are a lot of frame rate issues in here. And I know they patched it, so actually my back half of the game, like, first 15 hours there was a lot, and then after that there was really none. I got a patch in between. I have a feeling that fixed a lot of those issues, but I did still feel some of those, and I wanted to put that in there because this is a $60 game, and I'm very curious to see how much time Respawn actually got to make this game, because it was very buggy when I started playing this game. Like, very buggy. And I didn't even buy it first day. I bought it a couple days after, and I wasn't even planning on buying it, honestly. I really wasn't, because EA had disappointed me so much, but I did. And I'm very happy that I did. Before I give you guys my final thoughts on Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, again, hit that like and subscribe if you guys are new here. Comment down below, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the game. Have you guys picked it up yourself? Are you still holding out on it? Does my review help you guys decide on this choice? Let's talk about it down below, guys. And of course, if you guys, again, are new, hit up Sandwich on Films down below on how to see films early. And a big thing you do for clicking on this video, and a big thing you to my Patreon supporters, because without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is, and might be, the best Star Wars game ever created. It's the most impactful, meaningful one. It's something that actually changes the story, makes you think different dynamics of the Star Wars world, and I am eager and anticipating a sequel. I fell in love with each character in here. And when you got to the ending, my God, make sure you are not spoiled for that ending, because it is awesome. And I wish I wasn't, because, you know, YouTube sucks, and sometimes will recommend a video that in the thumbnail shows you what happens at the ending. Pretty cool. Thanks, YouTuber who did that, and thanks to YouTube for recommending me that. Besides that, I still was satisfied by the end, but also eager for more. More from this world. Going to different planets and exploring them with Cal is great. Your relationship with BD1 is some of the best that you've ever had with a droid, and actually BD1 is one of the best droids in Star Wars history. I love what Respawn did here. And I hope EA learned from this. That, hey, we can do games like this and they can be successful and make money. Let's gain our trust back. And again, I know there's no microtransactions in this yet. There could be added later. I would not be surprised. But when it comes to a $60 package for paying for this game, for the story alone, it's worth it. For the gameplay, that's just a cherry on top right there. I love the gameplay. I love the story. I had a blast with this game, and while I did have some issues with the frame rate and some technical stuff, I was absolutely fascinated by this game the whole entire time. So with all that said, I'm going to give Fallen Order a 9 out of 10. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on Fallen Order. Did you guys like it? Did you hate it? Let's discuss it down below in the comments, guys. Thank you guys again so much for clicking on this video. Do look forward to more video game reviews in the future. Again, I do these a little bit more laid back, kind of just talking with you guys. That's what I like to do about video games, because even though I take movies very, very seriously, video games are kind of my pastime to chill. That's why I still have not beaten Death Stranding. Maybe one day. Out for a review on Death Stranding maybe in 2 months. Fingers crossed if I beat it by then. Thank you guys again, and of course, until that next time, may the Force be with you all, and look out for more Star Wars videos coming up soon. Stay classy.